You've driven traffic to your listing, and now it's time to convert those people into customers. How can you use your bullets to make sure that you are converting as much of that traffic as possible into happy customers? If that sounds interesting to you, then let's go ahead and get into it. Hi, my name is Emma Shermer-Tamir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma, and since 2016, we've been working with e-commerce brands and helping them really connect with and convert their dream customers on Amazon, on their own websites, and those places where you need to figure out how to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people and then turning them into raving fans. And today, we are continuing our series on Amazon listing optimization deep dive, and the topic for today is your bullets, your feature bullets. Those 5, sometimes a few more if you are in a certain category, but typically those 5 bullets that you have that appear at the top of your screen that can make a huge difference in not only converting as many customers as possible, but really making sure that you're converting the right customers, because ultimately none of us want a bunch of returns or unhappy customers that we're needing to deal with. So before we start to get into some of the things that you can do to really take your bullets to the next level, I think that it's important that we sort of take a step back and identify, first of all, why do your bullets matter and what is their job? So your bullets are the thing that a customer is going to use to determine if your specific product is a good fit for their buying criteria. And so it's supposed to be an easily digestible list of some of the most important details about your product on its most surface level. So things like if you have something that's compatible with something else. So for example, I have a microphone here. I need to make sure if I'm purchasing a microphone that it's going to be compatible with my computer that I'm using it with. Or perhaps I'm somebody and I travel a lot and I want my microphone to be something that I can take on the road, in which case the fact that it would be portable and maybe even comes with a carrying case, that it's lightweight, those might be the types of things that are going to be most significant to me. So really thinking through what are those things that your customers absolutely need to know about your product. That's number 1. Number 2, you really need to think about what makes your product different than all of the other competitors out there. One of the things that Amazon is not awesome at is really helping customers determine how to compare one product to another. And so you need to really go out of your way to help customers understand where you fit into the competitive landscape and how you're different and better and a great choice for customers looking for a product like yours. You need to also, of course, make sure that you have a really strong keyword strategy. This is an important place for your Amazon SEO, so you don't want to neglect that. And then we also really want to always be thinking about how can we really push that sale forward. So thinking about how we can use text in your bullets to create an emotional connection with your customers, help identify what their problem, and then really position your product as a solution. So those are some of the top things that you need to be considering whenever you're creating your bullets. Let's get into a few logistical things, because I think that's also an important aspect of their bullets. It might not be the most exciting, but they are critical to make sure that you are really positioning your product for success. So first of all, we want to be mindful of how we format things. It used to be very popular to use all uppercase letters at the beginning of each bullet as a way of sort of creating a visual header for each of the bullets. And that used to be something that was quite effective. However, Amazon a few years ago decided that this was against their terms of service, and it is something that you can get your listing suppressed for. So I would highly discourage that you do that. Another thing to keep in mind is how long should your bullets be. In most categories, you're able to add up to 500 characters per bullet. However, those are really long, very hunky, chunky bullets, and you definitely do not want to make them that long. We really strive for no more than 200 characters per bullet, or 1,000 characters altogether. But if you can do less and still check all the boxes that you need to, That's fantastic. Thinking about how you can really make sure that customers aren't having to work hard to get the information that they need is critical. Now, another important aspect that is going to be important regardless of what part of your listing you're writing is making sure that you're using language that is permissible with Amazon. There's a pretty long list of things that you cannot say according to Amazon's rules, everything from promotional language to certain terminology that is considered pesticide related, amongst a whole host of random things depending upon what category you're selling in and what type of product you're selling. So you really want to make sure that you're familiarizing yourself with all of those so that you don't get yourself into hot water. Sometimes it might be as simple as just fixing the word and re-uploading the listing, but it can also lead to far more serious issues. So when it's possible to avoid that, we highly encourage that. Another no-no is no emoji usage. Again, the challenge with Amazon is because it's so vast, you might see people doing things and take that to mean that it's okay and that Amazon allows it. But the fact of the matter is that Amazon is more reactionary than proactive with really enforcing their rules. And so they do not actually want you to be using emojis. And frankly, most of the time, emojis are really not going to do you any favors. They can really cheapen a lot of products and categories. So if you want to play it safe, I would say steer clear of emojis. So we've talked about what your bullets need to do. We've talked about some sort of guidelines for the don'ts of and I guess do's of your bullets. Let's talk about SEO strategy for a minute. So how do you approach keyword usage in your bullets? Now, just like with your title, just like with every single part of your listing that's going to have an impact on your SEO, the temptation is going to be put in as many keywords as possible. And I would strongly discourage you from doing that. If you do that, then what's going to happen? You're going to make longer bullets. They're going to be less skimmable. They're going to be less customer friendly. And suddenly now you're finding yourself in a situation where you have hunky chunky bullets that nobody's looking at, nobody's reading. They're not able to do their job. They're not going to convert as well as they could be otherwise. So really try to be thoughtful about how you integrate keywords into your bullets. My rule of thumb would be 2 or so keywords per bullet is probably a safe bet. And also really keeping an eye out for those sort of 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 keywords that might have a shorter and longer keyword embedded within them. Those are going to give you more bang for your buck so that you're not really needing to repeat the same thing over and over again. What you'll find generally is that a lot of your keywords are going to have similar root phrases within them. So if you're selling a computer mouse or if you're selling a microphone, even if one of your main target keywords is podcasting microphone, maybe there are other keywords that are portable podcasting microphone, professional podcasting microphone, portable podcasting microphone for professionals. So that now we have 2 keywords within that. We have podcasting microphone and then podcasting microphone for professionals. So thinking about how you can identify those and then work them into your listing so that everything is reading and flowing in a really natural way. So now's the time to really get into the nitty-gritty of how can we think about your bullets both individually and as a whole to make them convert as many of those customers as possible. A great place to start is through what I call my better bullet framework. And that's really thinking about how to organize your information in a way that's going to be ideally positioned to convert your customers, give them that information that they need, and make sure that you are checking all of their boxes. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's pretend that you are selling bully sticks, more specifically odor-free bully sticks, and you have quite a bit of competition, so you really need to be thoughtful about how you can make sure that your product is going to stand out from a lot of other brands that really have far more traction, perhaps even brand recognition. Maybe somebody has their go-to bully stick, but given the right circumstances, perhaps they could be swayed to purchase from a different brand if you do a good job. So what are you going to do? First, you need to get organized. So you need to make sure to really go through your list. Like we spoke about earlier, what is your customer's key buying criteria? What are your unique selling propositions, or USPs for short? And what are the things that are really going to be significant in order for somebody to understand your product and make a confident purchase? So grouping all of that information together is key. Next, let's talk about what that Better Bullet framework looks like. So my Better Bullet framework, and it's kind of a tongue twister. Your first bullet should be your unique selling point, your USP, the primary benefit, and the thing that's really setting you apart. So we want to ideally cover both of those things in the first bullet, thinking about what makes you better and different than the competition and why that's going to be so significant to your target customer. So what do I mean when I say benefit? When I'm talking about benefit, what I really mean is, what is that core emotional driver behind why somebody would be excited to have your product? So what problem is this solving? How is this improving your customers' lives? Those are really important aspects of your product that you must understand in order to make bullets that are going to be really strong and impactful and do their job. So bullet number 1, your USP and the primary benefit. Bullet number 2, what are the important features that somebody absolutely has to know about your product, and what are some of those main buying criteria? So we're sort of almost thinking about this as what in journalism is called an inverted triangle. In other words, putting the most important information at the top and then going to decreasingly less important information as you go. So it's sort of the opposite of oftentimes how we're taught to write things. Oftentimes we say, let's hook them and then give them the bam at the end. In this case, when it comes to Amazon, because people are skimming, because people aren't looking at things in order, because they just want to quickly digest some information so they make sure that they're not wasting their time, you really want to put the most important information front and center so that they can find it quickly and easily. Your third bullet is going to be some secondary features, so things that aren't as important but are still significant for somebody to understand. Your fourth bullet, this can be a variety of things depending on the specificity of your product. So if there are any special care instructions, if it's compatible with things that it's good for, where it's manufactured. In the case of bully sticks, where the beef is sourced from would be very important for people, along with perhaps what kind of facility that it's in. I would also imagine that things around safety and purity and all of those things are very important, especially since this is a more premium type of treat. And then for the last bullet, we really like to make that a brand building statement. So something that's going to help people get to know a little bit more about who you are as a brand, why they should trust you, and starting to build out that relationship. So I've just pulled a listing at random. This is a brand, and I'm sorry if this is your brand, but Chewy and Tasty, we're going to tear your listing apart a little bit, but hopefully if this is your brand, then you're also getting some great insights of things that you can do to really take those bullets to a new place and get your listing optimized to its full potential. So right now their bullets are kind of a mess, for lack of a better word. They're all over the place. Information is not grouped together. It's sort of jumbled and all over the place. And so what I would do if I were just outlining what the bullets would be, what I also discovered is that through positioning, you're going to have to be very creative, because a bully stick is a single ingredient treat and there's really very little that separates one bully stick from another. You have size, you have the thickness, you have where it's made, and maybe, just the overall quality. But by and large, there isn't a lot that's really separating them from each other. And so that's where you need to be very creative of what can you do to still set yourself apart even if these are features that any other ballistic would have as well. If they're things that aren't being addressed by your competitors, then it's a great opening for you to be able to swoop in, connect with a group of customers, and then really dominate that little sub niche that you're creating. So the first bullet, what I would do is I would really speak to, this is great for keeping your dog happy, healthy, and out of trouble. So one of the things that I noticed in doing a little bit of research is none of these other competitors are speaking about the fact that this is a long-lasting treat that's a great way to channel destructive energy. So that's something that I would really want to call out. I know personally, as somebody who has a dog and purchases ballistics, that that's actually one of the primary reasons why I buy these, because when my dog just has crazy energy and he doesn't want to play, but he also is just kind of ready to cause trouble, or maybe he just wants a bully stick, who's to say, but there's nothing, if I give him, most other treats, he's going to eat them in a minute. If I give him just a chew toy, he's going to have interest in it maybe briefly, but probably not. And so this is something, because it is long lasting, that I can give him and he'll chew on for 15, 20 plus minutes. It's a healthy activity for him. It's good exercise for his jaws. It's good for dental health, and it keeps me from going crazy. So that's a really important aspect of a ballistic that I would want to call out if I was rewriting this listing. Bullet number 2, I would really speak to the happy human experience. So I just sort of gave you a little bit of insight there, but how can this impact the person that is buying the treat? It's not the dog that's going online, it's the humans. So how can we speak to them and really talk to their experience alongside the dogs? So the fact that it's long lasting, the fact that it's odor free, that's going to be really significant for them. Then we don't want to ignore some of those basic things that are going to be true for any of the ballistics out there, but the fact that it's a great single ingredient, 100% beef treat, that it's nutritious, that it's going to be something that you can feel good about giving to your animal. Bullet 4, where it's sourced from and manufactured in. So, thinking about why that would be significant, that's speaking to the integrity of the manufacturing facility, so that you know that this is a product that you can feel confident giving to your dog. So that's really, again, talking to that benefit, right? Bullet number 5, commitment to quality and a positive experience. So really allowing the customer to understand that you are there for them if they have a problem, if they want to learn more about other things that you can do for them, you're there and you're eager to create a relationship with them. So that's my Better Bullet framework and how I would sort of rethink the structure of these bullets and refocus them. So we spoke a bit about benefits. It's also important, these are called the feature bullets, so we want to talk about the features too. And so the strategy that I take with that is pairing a feature and a benefit together. So it's not either talking about a benefit or either talking about a feature, but joining them together in a way that it almost sort of makes like a proof. If you remember back in the days of needing to write scientific papers or being in math class, and you have to show your work and you have to explain why it is that you're saying something. So it's not good enough to say this is great, you need to explain why it's great. So by pairing the feature and the benefit together, you're giving some more substance to a statement that you're making, so you're not just kind of making an empty claim that may or may not be true. We've covered a lot. I realize that this is sort of a lot to sink your teeth into, maybe pun intended with that. But the bullets are so critical. You must get them right. Again, they're important for your SEO. They're important for making sure that you are capturing that traffic that you're driving to your listing, signaling to customers that they're in the right space, and then of course getting them excited and pumped up to want to buy your product. So there is a lot more that goes into how you can really think creatively about positioning your product and branding and using voice and copy and a bunch of other techniques that I would be very happy to create videos about if that's something that you're interested in. Please, if you have other questions about bullets, drop them in the comments. We also have some blog posts on our website that are all about bullet points. And furthermore, we offer a free listing analysis. So if you've listened to this and you're like, I'm feeling overwhelmed and confused, I'd really like another set of eyes on this, on my bullets to see if I'm doing them the right way. You can fill out a link in the, rather, fill out a form in the description below with your details, and we will take a look at your listing and follow up with some feedback and some things that you can do to elevate your listing and take it to the next level. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a moment, I would love it if you would subscribe, like, comment, share. All of that would mean so much to me, and I will see you soon.